wasn't even a gag. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Especially for those of you who knew that I'd be saying a few words. It's very touching that you still decided to come. In all seriousness, I know this day means so much to everyone involved, and I know Mike and you are delighted that you are all here to share their special day. I'm not really a fan of public speaking, but I am told it's like going to a nudist beach. It's only hard for the first couple of minutes. Now, I'd like to lay down a few ground rules. Firstly, no heckling, especially from this table. And secondly, the venue manager spoke to me earlier to request that for health and safety reasons, none of you are to get on the tables and chairs during my standing ovation. In preparation for this speech, I was reminded about the ABC and the XYZ of public speaking. ABC, always be confident. Hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. And XYZ, examine your zip.
Hello.
Everything's under control. I spent the last 6 months worrying about this speech. It's a lie.
Worrying about it.
But the point came to me yesterday, and that is, nobody else can possibly stand where I am right now and feel as proud and honoured to be able to represent Mike on the most important day of his life. It's great to be involved in every day of Mike's life, as he was involved in mine. That's right, 6 months ago, he was there, stood by my side when I received my new Xbox One. I'd like to thank Mike on behalf of the bridesmaids for his kind words. Can I also say what a great job they have done today?
I want to see Mummy.
They really do look smashing, and are only brightly outshone by our bride, Lou, who looks truly radiant. Mike, you don't look too bad yourself, although I'm a little bit disappointed you copied my outfit. On behalf of the bridesmaids and myself, I'd like to thank Lou and Mike for asking us to be involved in the most important day of their lives. I know they've both put a tremendous amount of effort into the planning of this wedding, especially Lou, and I can only hope that apart from this speech, everything else would have exceeded their expectations. Lou, I can only say in my defence that Mike and I share a common sense of humour, so if this speech is in any way unfunny, please feel free to blame Mike. I have been asked to thank you all for coming and the gifts that you have so generously donated. I must say, Charlotte and I struggled to decide what to get. We wanted to give Mike something that he genuinely needed. The trouble is, it's such a struggle to figure out how to wrap a bath. Having accepted the role of best man, I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone today. From a best man's perspective, everything's gone pretty smoothly. For starters, I got Mike to the venue on time. He also arrived sober, as did I. And most importantly, in this time of economic uncertainty, I successfully resisted the urge to post the rings, to cash for gold and do a runner. Well done me. I'd also like to take a minute to thank Parley Manor team and Merlin's catering team, without whom this wedding would never have been possible. I can honestly say that Mike and Lou will be in your debt forever. And at £5 a pint, I think most of us will too. I first met Mike 33 years ago, when I can only assume that my mum and dad were that disappointed with their first attempt, they decided to try again. It is impossible to summarise Mike's life, but I would have to say that over the years he has been the best anyone could hope for in a brother. Admittedly, as he is my only brother, it isn't the greatest survey ever done, but in my limited experience of brothers, I'd have to say he's pretty much as good as they come. But Mike's not only my brother, he's also my best friend, and I've always been able to go to him for whatever I've needed. As my brother and my best friend, there's nothing I wouldn't do for Mike. Likewise, I know there's nothing that Mike wouldn't do for me. In fact, we spend most of our time doing nothing for each other. But like most brothers, we've always had our fair share of sibling rivalry. We always used to try to beat each other up and always try to get each other into trouble. we've certainly had our fair share of ups and downs. I remember back to times when a petty argument would arise from nowhere. Mike would call me smelly, and I'd call him stupid, and then it would spiral all out of control, and we'd end up running home in tears. But sure enough, the next day, Mike would text me from work, and we'd make up. Now, I'm sure you all think that you know Mike really well over the years. Well, and over the years of knowing him, I've seen many of his intriguing hairstyles. But have any of you seen Mike with shoulder-length long hair? Oh, it's all right. Isn't that bad? Well, let me tell you why you haven't. While I was at catering college, I had to go on a couple of 6-month work experience placements. One was to France, and another one was to a Greek island in Kos. Mum and Dad and Mike loved coming to visit me because I could always get them some cheap accommodation. But back to the story. Mum and Dad were led by the pool, and a couple that they had got talking to asked Mum and Dad if their daughter would like to borrow their Lido. And so, yeah, the day he got back, he cut it short, and it's never been long since. That is a true story. As Mike's brother, I was always going to be in contention for the role of best man, and I was extremely proud to be asked, and I hope that I had done the role justice. Apart from being my brother and my best friend, he also was my flatmate and my work colleague. For which he put up with me for over a decade now, working and living together. I know, a decade. We bought our first flat together back when Mike was about 19. I think, and we went straight out, bought paint, brushes, etc., and we were going to decorate this. We were up all night, laughing, painting about how chuffed we were with our new flat, and that the number was number 69. The next day, Mum and Dad came round to admire our handiwork and our painting skills, and I think Dad's exact words were, "Why the bloody hell have you Artexed the walls?" So, since then, painting has never been mine and Mike's strong point. One thing Mikey does extremely well is playing drums in our band. He's a right little Keith Moon once he gets going. I play lead guitar and sing backing vocals, and our friend Phil is lead vocalist. We started our band, the Cynthias, a few years ago, and played most evenings until the early hours of the morning to a handful of people. We have done world tours, we've done festival appearances, but sadly, we had to split up when Phil went to uni. Aww. Mike felt it right not to carry on the band without all 3 founder members, and that we might be getting a bit too old for computer games now. Another one of my duties is to not mention the stag do. As the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Luckily, we went to Christchurch. For those of you that don't know Christchurch, Christchurch is full of historical buildings, museums, rivers. So let us say, I don't know. A favourite duty of a best man is to help make sure that the wedding goes smoothly. And I have a few lists of things to make sure it does. The first one is the aisle. The longest walk you'll ever take. The altar, the place where 2 become 1. The hymn, the song which celebrates the marriage. I think Lou might have read these same things as well, because as she was walking down the aisle, I'm pretty sure I heard her whispering to herself, "I'll alter him. I'll alter him." And I have a few bits of advice for the happy couple. Somebody once said, marriage is a 50-50 partnership, but anyone who believes that knows nothing about women or percentages. A happy marriage is a relationship where one person will always be right, and the other is the husband. Here's something... Here's something that every couple should remember. The moral to having a successful relationship is that one good turn will get all the duvet. But I have to say how lucky you are, Mike, because you will leave here today not having gained a wife that is attractive, smart, loving and caring. And Lou, how lucky are you? You will leave today having gained a lovely dress, a bouquet of flowers, and a really handsome brother-in-law. Lou, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Muscle family. Before I finish, Mike did have me a short notice earlier that I memorised. I just want to put this out there quickly. For sale, a complete set of encyclopedia, excellent condition, 500 quid, no longer needed, just married, the wife knows everything. Okay, we're nearly at the end now. I would like to take this opportunity to propose a toast to the people who can't be with us today, as I'm sure there are a few who are looking down on us with big smiles on their faces. So please raise your glasses to the absent and lost. And just a thought to leave you with. Marriage is not about finding someone that you can live with, it's about finding someone you can't live without. So ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding, raise your glasses to love, to laughter, to a happy ever after. I give you the new Mr. and Mrs. Muscle, Mike and Louisa.
Mike and Louisa.